Christina, let me start with you. Does Secretary Rubin have a point? I mean, do we need to be more cautious in some of the rhetoric that we've been using against China right now, given that should we actually see a trade war? Look, nobody wants it. I keep saying, hey, if we see one, we'll win because we're the world's biggest customer. But nonetheless, it could be painful in the meantime. So does the Secretary have a point in that we should be careful with rhetoric?
Do you really think that you can get President Trump to be careful with wording, especially when it involves trade? I think that's a very difficult ask, so I don't even think it's possible. Are we in a trade war? No. I believe that these are talks right now. If anything, the only thing that's going to go forward is NAFTA with July 1st and Canada imposing tariffs there. So that's one step forward in terms of the trade dispute. In regards to China, they're going to hit back possibly later on with supply chain and that Qualcomm being hit today. Why? You don't have as many products, American products, going into China compared to the other way around. So when they impose tariffs, it's not going to hurt the economy as much. So why not go after the American companies that are already doing business, that buy some of the parts in China? And I think that could be a future hit.
But in a way, aren't those companies being hit as well, Adam? In other words, if you're, I mean, they're going to be...
I'm long Qualcomm, and it hurts.
Exactly.
NXPI is another one. Yeah, I'm actually still long these companies because I do think this thing gets worked out. And I tell you why. Every time we have seen tit versus tat, there is wiggle room that is built into this thing. Mm-hmm. So, for example, when the U.S. initially came out with the tariffs, it was scaled back from 50 to 40, and it was on about 1,050 items. Mm-hmm. Well, then the Chinese countered, and it was only for 34, and it was on 564 items. And they said not until July 6th. In other words,
July 6th, right.
Yeah, there's wiggle room. Mm-hmm. And I think what we're also realizing is that this is the first time we've ever seen an administration do all of this out in the open. We've always seen it behind, it's always been behind closed doors.
Which is the way, by the way, you know, Bob Rubin says he kind of likes it that way, but he also said to me, and I would encourage everyone to see the entire interview later today online on Fox Business, but he also said to me, look, China is a problem. They're stealing our intellectual property. We can't allow this to continue. Well, it is an issue, and it's been an issue for so long. He doesn't like the approach of this administration, but, you know, I think we all know that the other approaches haven't worked so well.
But do you even think that this is addressing that the stealing the intellectual property when you're going after bourbon? You're going, well, maybe that's with Mexico, but you're going after tit for tat. Is that addressing the actual problem? No. Are you trying to force the government in China to change their practice?
Well, you know, think about this. Google, Facebook, and Twitter are all blocked in China. So if you actually talk about leveling the playing field, what about letting these great American exports, Google search, on and on, actually go into China? I mean, it's really amazing when you think that those websites are censored. You can't get in there. I've traveled extensively throughout China.
I know you've spent a lot of time there, and I know you've done a lot of reporting there, too.
They are absolutely tough.
Which is why even Google buying JD.com.
Yeah, right.
They're investing. That just shows that they believe. They don't think that China's going to change their ways, so let's go around it and go after a Chinese company.
Right, and then I guess I would just point out, like, what are they giving up in order to do that? Because you have to surrender a certain amount of your intellectual property or your privacy as an American company doing business over there. And that, you know, I'm concerned about long term. The Secretary and I talked about long-term concerns, and he did make the point, though, and I think we all agree with this, that, you know, the U.S. is not a country you'd ever want to bet against. Here he is again on the U.S. versus China. We'll play that a little later.
Did we lose him?
No, it's okay.
What did he say?
We'll play that one a little later.
I want to know what
he made the point that, you know what, we still have so much intellectual capacity.
Right.
We have a work ethic. We have an education system that is unrivaled. And so as long as we're able to stay a little ahead of the game, we should come out ahead. We have it here. Let's go to it.
We have such tremendous advantages over China. We really do. We have a rule of law. They don't have it. We have a deeply embedded market-based economy. They're moving back toward the state-owned enterprises. We have a dynamic culture. We have a dynamic private sector. We have vast natural resources. We have the greatest universities in the world. We had, at least until recently, sensible immigration policies, so we're getting a lot of the best and the brightest. Now we're screwing that up a little bit, or a lot actually, but the best and the brightest from around the world. It's just that we've got to deal with our own. If we deal with our issues, I'd much rather bet on us than China.
I never thought I'd hear a Democrat say something that would bring a Tear to my eye. But what a wonderful, what a wonderful comment on the United States, right?
You know what? I will tell you this, and I'm not, I'm not partisan. I am an independent, and I look at each and every issue. You know often how I feel on issues,
right.
but it's not motivated from a political stance. He is a Democrat. He worked for Bill Clinton, former head of Goldman Sachs, by the way, as well. But I'll tell you, I think that we saw a lot in terms of all of these policies, well, maybe not the policies, but on the outcomes that we both desired. I mean, and again, I encourage everybody to watch this because he talked a lot about the systemic change in this economy, the lack of education to really, bring us forward into this new kind of economy we have. I mean, I think that, the issues as defined, everybody sort of agrees, right? It's the question of how do you fix it? And then when you get so darn bogged down in politics, it's frustrating. And one of the other important points he made is it's on both sides, right? You're seeing so much division right now that you kind of question how governable we really are.
And by the way, when you say both sides, you're not talking U.S.-China. You're talking Republican.
No, forgive
Democrat,
me. Yeah,
right?
because you made the comment about I never thought I'd say a Democrat. And this really, it doesn't need to be. Neil always says this, so shout out to Neil. You don't need to be red or blue, but green here. And we want to see the economy prosper. We want to see people make money. And it doesn't have to, economics doesn't have to be political.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you so much. I have recently joined the network, and you cannot imagine how much I believe in that. And when I get told off by some people online or anything, when I'm just showing both sides. So I fully agree with that. The economy right now is doing really well. So if anything, we're going to bring it back to trade. It's an opportunity to get that discussion going, to get these negotiation going so that eventually there will be no tariffs if we want that going forward.
That would be my ideal
optimism.
Imagine, by the way, you talked, Trish, you said, how is it that we can possibly save face? How do you let each side save face? Imagine if Mr. Trump were to say something like, I tell you what, we're good with 0 tariffs. We won't put any on you. You don't put any on us. We have total free trade. Imagine if you were actually to take that tip at this point, and then the Chinese could come back and say, well, we've talked about opening our market, and now all of a sudden you talk about a level playing field. That would be
I would love
exciting.
to see it. You know what I'd love? 0% tariffs for all. Nobody have any tariffs, and then we have real free trade.
Yep.
Adam, Christine, I'm going to see you guys in a little bit. Don't go anywhere.